Hey, everybody, how you doing out there? Hey, it's freaking cold out there, man. Just took the dogs outside and they're doing that little dance to keep their feet from their little paws from freezing. So, hey, I got a notice today and I was asked to do a little public safety announcement. If you're an ice fisherman, don't go out on that ice yet. It's not safe. There have been reports that it's anywhere from 10 to 12 inches thick. No. Coast Guard is saying at the most it's only 4 inches and it's not safe. So do not go out on that ice yet. But hey, other than that, we got a fantastic show for you tonight. So let's go ahead and get things started. All right, everyone. Hey, as y'all know, I'm Tim Hauser, the Golf War Advocate, and all that good old stuff. But hey, as you can see on the screen, we have Mr. Brian Anglin with us today, and he's with an organization called Northeast Ohio Foundation for Patriotism, NEOPAT for short. So, welcome to the show, Brian.
Thanks, Tim. Thanks for having me. I appreciate it.
It's an honor having you on. And just a reminder to anybody who's watching this live, the chat is open. So if you feel like sending us a little message or a question, please feel free to do so. And we'll get to that here in a bit. But first, Brian, how did NEOPAT get started?
Yeah, so NEOPAT was founded in 2011 by a group of local business leaders who shared a passion for the United States, Northeast Ohio, and local military men and women and their families. NEOPAT's mission is to promote patriotism in the community. We also like to host remembrance projects, and another big pillar of ours is providing emergency financial assistance to military service members, veterans, and their families. So being that we're a private nonprofit with private funding, we are able to assist some of our local veterans and military service members of Northeast Ohio in ways that some other veteran organizations, such as the Veteran Service Commissions, the VA, and other veterans benefits and military benefits out there. Maybe the red tape is a little too thick to get through at the moment, and somebody needs help now. That's one of the big purposes of our emergency financial assistance program. And to date, we have given over $4 million back to the military community in direct and indirect contributions. So very proud to say that, and very proud to be a part of the organization.
Yes.
And it's definitely been a wild ride, and love what I get to do, being that I'm a civilian myself, but I get to work directly with the veterans and other veteran liaisons in the community, and it's been a real honor.
Yeah, and we've worked together on a few projects, so I know how that feeling is about helping out fellow veterans and everything. And
Yeah.
One project that we did work on that I'm very proud of, that I got started with a couple members of the Cleveland Cavaliers Cavs Care team, and that was the rally against suicide last September. And I know you were a part of that, and we're going to be sending out. I think I sent you an email that we're getting ready to start holding Zoom meetings so we can make next year's or this year's event even bigger and better than it was last year. And I want to thank you for helping out with that last year and having your table all set up. I know you helped out some veterans at that event, so
yeah,
that
absolutely.
was pretty good.
And that's that's what we like to do. That's one of the things that NEOPAT is here to do as an organization, is to get out there at some of those events. And personally, I was more than happy to join the rally against suicide. I know there were some last minute issues that came up that may have prevented it from happening. So I'm really happy that we were able to pull it off
Hmm.
in the end, and it was a really good event. I think we were able to reach a lot of people there, and I'm looking forward to it next year.
Yes. Yep, me too. And yeah, we're definitely going to be holding it in September, and we're going to be bringing in other organizations too that are not veteran oriented.
Yes.
So it's going to be for the entire community this
Do you
time.
know what? Do you already have an idea of what some of those organizations might be?
Yes, AFSP, which is American Foundation for Suicide Prevention, and another organization is called Life Act. And then the Governor DeWine of Ohio has a special office on suicide prevention,
Okay.
and they run the Governor's Challenge, and they're going to be part of it as well. Um, there are a few others that are trying to see if their upper management and allow them to participate, and that's one is Cleveland Guardians,
Hmm.
the Cleveland Browns. The Cavaliers are already committed, so
Okay.
them, but the other two teams are interested, and they're just waiting for upper management to say it's okay for them to join in as well.
Oh, nice.
Yes.
What type of role are you hoping to have them here at the rally for? Are they going to have resources? Are they going to come to volunteer or?
Uh, both actually. They're going to have some resources, and I know the Cavaliers were the ones who helped hand out all the free food from last year, so maybe they'll be part of that as well. Oh, another
Yeah.
organization too that we're waiting to hear back from to get the final word from is the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame.
Oh, wow.
Yes, yes, I've
Is
been in
there is
contact with
there
them.
is there any room to maybe do you know where you're going to have it this year? Are you still having it? Do you plan on having it? I know Matt mentioned that the Free Stamp might not be the best location for it this
Right.
year.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, that's why we're starting to hold meetings here very soon, so we can figure out where we're gonna hold it at. Now, what would
Okay.
be cool is if Rock and Roll Hall of Fame says yes, we want to participate. Do it on our front door. Then
That
we
would
don't
be
have to
great.
worry about a permit.
Well, yeah, and I hate to be pessimistic, but we know from working with some of these bigger organizations and like the city and stuff that can be hard,
Hmm.
especially with like the contractors and the food, the catering and things like that. I know that's the first
Yeah.
thing that comes to mind when I hear Rock Hall, I hear Airmark, and
Yes. Uh-huh.
I'm curious to know if they'd allow us to roast hot dogs and hand them out in front of the Rock Hall.
Right.
But that would be great. That would be pretty
Yes.
ideal. And maybe
Mhm.
if we can't do it at the Rock Hall, maybe they have some sister facilities in the area, or some guidance on another facility that we can check
Right.
out. So
Right. Yeah. So
I'll
we're trying
turn.
to make this a complete community event, because when I go talk about veteran suicide, one of the things that I mentioned is that I bring up that old saying, "It takes a village," and I say in order to bring the suicide numbers down, it's going to take the entire community, not just talking to the veterans, but we need to educate their spouses, their children, their neighbors, their co-workers, their bosses. We need to educate them. So that's why that was one of the main goals of last year's rally, was try to educate the community on it.
Mhm.
And then Matt and I got to talking, and we were like, yeah, we need to expand it to include the entire community if that's the message we're going to present. So yeah, we're asking a lot of non-veteran organizations to join us as well.
Yeah,
And
absolutely, and that's crucial because the suicide doesn't it doesn't discriminate. It doesn't belong
that's
just
right.
in the veteran community. Although it's obviously it
E-
exists there
yeah,
too, but it
even though the
needs.
veteran community is 1% of the national population,
Uh-huh.
it is the veteran suicide average is 10 times greater than the national suicide average. So
Okay.
it's
Yeah,
it's huge. It's it's
absolutely.
epidemic, like an epidemic and everything. So,
Yeah,
but
it sure is. And if only there was more that I know that as an organization, we wish we could do more to contribute to that cause. So obviously, we'll be there.
Mhm.
We'll be present. Well, obviously, if there's anything we can assist with in setting up, maybe getting some volunteers there to help with that, you just let me
Yes.
know because
Oh
that's
yeah.
what we're here to do. So
Oh yeah. We'll be including you in the meetings, of course.
yeah.
Now, if a veteran uh, does come to you for seeking some financial aid, are there any prerequisites that they need to meet before you're able to provide them with assistance?
That's a good question, and that's it's a flexible. There's a flexible answer to that because it's really not one size fits all there. But
Mm-hmm.
obviously, again, we work in very unique situations. We work in everything from formal requests that are processed in 7 to 10 business days, like most other requests for most other things, and then we've had instances where not too long ago, because Neopat doesn't have a physical brick and mortar office. So up until last year, it was our chairman and co-founder Mike Swallow's address that was listed as our business address, and we've you
Mm-hmm.
know we've had people come to his house, because it's on the website saying like, hey, we're in need of help, and obviously we help them. So to answer that, no, there's no prerequisites. We do have a criteria that we have to follow as far as like who we're able to help and who we're not able to help directly with financial
Mm-hmm.
assistance. And what that means basically is, in order to receive emergency financial assistance directly from NEOPAT, you do have to be an honorably discharged veteran. That is the only criteria we ask if you are a veteran, but we do also provide our emergency assistance to active duty military, reservists, and their family members. The family members of all three of those: reservists, active
Mm-hmm.
duty, and veterans. And that's real important too, because there's not a lot of organizations, or especially government agencies, that provide assistance to the family members of those serving, or those who have served and may have been affected by their loved one's
Mm-hmm.
service in one way or another, financially, mentally. And that's important to note too, is that we don't just focus on the money. If we see a situation come in and we feel that that other resources may be useful to them, we try and give them as much quality resources as we can, so they're not overloaded with the amount of things put in front of them, and then overwhelmed
Right.
and decide, maybe I just don't want to do this, maybe I'm not ready for this. So we try to really focus in on what their needs are, and do our best to meet those, whether it's directly through our organization or indirectly through some of the partner organizations that we provide programmatic support for, such as Amber Acres, Ridall Green Farms,
Right.
your organization, Veterans Assurance Network, CAVA, uh, and I'm sure there's a lot that I'm missing here, but
Mm-hmm.
it's important that I think it's just important to mention that it's not Neopat doing it alone. We have a lot of help from organizations like yours in
Right.
the community, and it wouldn't be help. It wouldn't be possible without the help of everybody. So, and that's another goal that we have moving forward, is just trying to connect all of these military organizations in Northeast Ohio, because you and I both know how many of them are out there. We've sat around the
Yep.
table at Ridall a lot over these over the recent months, and we've seen it, and it's just, I think, if there's one thing everybody can agree on, there's we're lacking that central hub,
Right.
for anybody anywhere to walk into, to say, hey, what's at my disposal, what can I do in this situation, this is where I'm struggling, is there any help out there for it? Because we all know that stuff isn't easy to find, it's buried somewhere
Right.
out there.
Mm-hmm. And one thing I saw firsthand when I was in Washington D.C. was a lot of the larger nonprofits that were helping advocate with us. A veteran would go up to their representative and say, "Hey, I need assistance," and they're right off the bat, the first thing they say is, "Well, we don't help your generation of veterans. We only help like post 9/11 or Vietnam veterans." Or and then the veteran's like, "Well, who do I go to?" And they wouldn't give them the answer. but they would hand them an application saying, hey, become a member, help us help the veterans we do help. So that's one of the reasons why I started mine was that's got to stop.
Right.
You know, we're not out there to compete with each other. We're out there to help each other out. So if you don't know who to send a veteran to get the aid that they're looking for, that's where our organization comes in. We've got all that information. We know who we'll get in contact with that organization for the veteran and go that way. But you hit on something that's mighty important too up here in Northeast Ohio, and hopefully this is happening all across the country. Is all us nonprofits are getting together to help each other out, to help veterans. And one thing that we're doing too, and correct me if our little groups, I'm the group's name in case I get it wrong. It's what, the Greater Cleveland Veterans Coalition?
I
Because
think
I know I've
it's
missed a
been
few
referred
meetings
to.
here lately.
I think it's gotten a little mashed up a little bit. My most recent understanding was that it was the Cleveland's Veterans Collaborative. I believe that's what it was. Again, I know that it's kind of been altered and changed a bit here and there, so don't hold me to that. But I believe it's the Cleveland Veterans Collaborative. Again, that's just a group. It's no more than a group of people that meet, a group of organizations and members from each organization that meet. We try to meet weekly at Riddle.
Yeah, I
Sometimes we're
think it's
not
going to be
always able to do
bi-weekly
that.
for a little while here.
Right.
Yeah.
Just I think until we get situated for for Armed Forces Day and some of these other events. But I think if anybody has, being that we're all on the email chain, I think that some of us made it clear too that if there's any topics that we need to meet on, such as like Armed Forces Day or something that we may need to meet weekly on, that we'd be absolutely willing to do that. I'm available most of the time. But we're just all trying to be as productive and efficient as possible. So
now, do you want to explain to our viewers what originally brought us all together?
Actually, you might be better suited to do that because I came to the table a little late. I've only been at the table for a little under a year now. Whenever I got there, it sounded like most of the table had already been there for at least a year and a half, about 18 months, I want to say at that point, maybe 2 years. But it sounds like you guys have been going at it for a while over there. I'm a newbie.
I'm kind of a newbie too, but one of the goals that the group originally started was the city of Cleveland does not have a veterans liaison office at all. They have a veterans liaison, but he doesn't have an office. He really doesn't have an official title, actually, but he is an employee of the city. Right, but he has no resources, no backing or anything like that. So we have been asking the city to come up with a charter or a bill or something like that to make that man's position, one, permanent, two, give him the office and resources that he needs in order to help veterans, and especially homeless veterans in Cleveland. The city knows where all the homeless people stay that aren't going to the shelters, but they don't like to give that information up. So, for one reason or another, but a lot of those folks are veterans, and so we've been trying to get the city to, one, create that office, make it permanent, so it has funding, so they can get the resources needed in order to help veterans. So that was the original goal of the whole group, and then it expanded onto like Armed Forces Day at Riddle, and some of you folks should remember one of my first episodes as Veterans Central. We did have the folks from Riddle on here, and it was right before Armed Forces Day, so getting ready for their resource fair.
Okay, so is that when you started? Because I remember that. Is that when you started this podcast on?
Well, I originally started this podcast a year ago, but it was called the Gulf War Advocate. But I was only getting Gulf War veterans watching, And the
Okay.
show wasn't about just Gulf
Right.
War. It was, you know,
And
and
now you've
then
expanded it with this, right?
yeah, and then seeing veterans get turned down by your big major national nonprofits is like, yeah, we gotta get information out, more information out. So that's why we changed it to Veteran Central, and that's why we started our organization, and the two are co-joined together. So,
Right.
and then you over there at NEOPAT have been great in helping get information out too. So, God, thank you for that.
We do try our best, and that's one thing that we're blessed with over here at NEOPAT. Over the years, we've been able to build a pretty big network of
Mm-hmm.
veterans in Northeast Ohio. We have our blog, and we also have our um, bi-monthly veteran newsletter that goes out to
Yes.
specifically veterans. That includes veteran resources. There are links and invitations to upcoming events exclusive to veterans and military service members. We'll get tickets to some Browns games, Guardians games, Cavs games every now and
Mm-hmm.
again. We also have a lot of, again, going back to our partnerships and our programmatic support. I think it's just really important to keep touching on that, because we do partner with a lot of these organizations that have great services to offer, and they're looking to bring people in and help them. So Neopat is always happy to cover those costs for a veteran to go and enjoy some recreational art, music, therapy, any what have you. That's what we're here to assist with. We don't only help in emergency situations. Again, we're pretty flexible in how we're able to assist
Yeah.
military service members, and I really enjoy being able to do that. So.
Oh yeah. And then I know if you're unable to help a veteran, you know who to send them to. So it's
Yeah,
that
we
seems
try
to,
our best, right? We always try our best.
and that became like the second goal of the group that we belong to up there in Cleveland, is making sure veterans get the information that they need and know who they can go to get the help they need. And
Yes.
it's been very successful so far. So I know we've been helping a lot of veterans.
Yeah, it's definitely
Mhm.
it's a very strong foundation, and I think given some more participation from the city, I think it's gonna have a pretty far reach, right?
Mm-hmm.
Um, I would definitely like to see some more progress being made on both sides, to be honest. But
Mm-hmm.
obviously, more engagement from the city is always great.
Yes.
That's absolutely crucial. But hopefully, we'll make more progress there next year. I'm sure we will,
Oh
and I'm
yeah.
really looking forward to what we're able to accomplish and in all of our upcoming events. So um, we'll see how it goes, right?
Oh yes. Oh yes. Um, Now, if if a veteran comes to you saying, "Hey, look, I'm not sure who to turn to, but I'm having these bad thoughts."
Hmm.
Do you have a program set up to help a veteran in need like that and know exactly where to take them?
That's actually a great question, and I wish I could tell you that we've had a procedure in place for a while now that does cover something like that, but we haven't. We've actually just recently been meeting with the crisis hotline people, and we're working with them on building out a specific resource area, not just on our
Mm-hmm.
website, but in our phone system also, that
Yeah.
provides those resources in real time. If you, let's say, were to call, obviously, if you were to call and reach me, my line, I would have those resources available, but it would also be available on the automated line itself. So, if you weren't able to reach somebody, because we are, a short-staffed, or not short-staffed organization, but we only have two staff members
Mm-hmm.
technically on the payroll. And if we're not able to get there, that way those resources are still accessible and they're still there. And you don't always have to, bounce around from place to place, especially if you're in a mindset like that. Again, going back to it, it's crucial that those resources are readily available when somebody's looking for them and when they're in need of those. Absolutely. So that's something that we are building out more, is our
Okay.
resource section, and I would say that that's our number one priority. That being said, luckily I can't recall any situations where we've had any requests that anything like that comes up. But we do, um, we are educated in a lot of veteran specific like buzzwords and things like that. We do understand the language. We do have a
Mhm.
lot of veterans on our board. We have our senior advisor Rick Deschamps, who is obviously very well connected with the military currently and formerly, and he would be our advisor on things like that. Is this something
Mhm.
that we should be worried about? Should we refer this out? But primarily, we try to help the veteran directly. If they're going through some stuff, aside from anything that we may need to mandatorily like report, we just try to help. Is there anything we can do for you? If it's if you're late on bills, let's help with that. If you need some help getting groceries, let's help with that. If you need help getting somewhere, car repair, let's help with it. Let's just talk about it, and that's what it all comes down to, is just asking for the help and asking for it in time.
Mhm.
Because we see a lot of late requests come at last minute. It's we got the shut off notice 2 weeks ago. I think they're going to be here today. um, and it's just important to understand that it's totally okay to ask for help, and
Right.
that's what we're here to do. So, but we get it. We understand that um, veterans are very prideful, and
Right.
they're only going to ask for help whenever it's absolutely critical. So
And
it
even
doesn't.
then, we don't ask for help. It's
Right.
somebody else goes behind our back and says, "Hey, he needs help."
Yeah. And we try to make it easy too. We
Mhm.
really we try to make it easy to ask for that, and we'll get references sometimes from people, and that's another thing that's worth noting. If you know somebody that may be in need of assistance, that's one of the other reasons that we have our plus family member assistance in our criteria, because then it allows, let's say, a spouse of somebody who may not be willing to ask for that help, that may be in need
Right.
of it, to do that for them. And we do see that often, and again, however the request gets to us, we just want to be able to provide our assistance, because that's what we're funded to do. That's what our donors give us money to do, and we pride ourselves in doing that. So, however we need to reach them, we'll do that. And I hope that answered your question as far
Yes, it
as
does.
like
Yes.
the protocol, as far as like if somebody needs help, you're absolutely welcome to reach out to us for any help that you need, and we will do our best to get you the help that you need.
Oh
So,
yeah. Now, is it okay to let people know what happened with your family here just
oh
not
yeah,
too long
yeah,
ago?
yeah, yeah,
All right.
absolutely.
You know, we're lucky to have Brian on tonight because Brian just became another father here just what, a couple weeks ago?
Yeah, the day after Christmas, the night after Christmas, I spent the whole day after Christmas. Actually, I spent most of Christmas Day in the hospital too. So, but yeah, I have a newborn son. His name is Noah James Anglin. He was born at 11:26 p.m. on December 26th. So
Way cool.
very excited about
Way
that.
cool.
Gonna have a handful over here.
Yes. Yes, you are.
Uh, it's fun. I don't
now
I don't have to grow up yet.
now wait till they get to become my son's age. Then you'll really have some fun.
Yeah. How old's your son?
13.
Oh, okay.
Oh
Oh, I
yeah.
couldn't imagine.
Got the
Couldn't
girlfriend, got the hormones, got the attitudes, got the
the attitude, huh?
oh yeah.
Tell you what, I'm already
Think
getting
he
that from my 6-year-old.
thinks he knows everything.
Oh yeah. Tell you what though, even my 6-year-old sometimes, especially with the computers and stuff now, he has me beat there.
Yeah. Hmm.
Thought that
Yeah,
I
so
was
does
like
mine.
I thought I was the tech king here in this house, but I'm I'm slowly losing that title, unfortunately.
No, my kid's a real good kid. He really is. It's
Oh,
just,
I bet.
experiencing growing up is what he's doing. So,
Yeah, you'll have to bring him around sometime.
oh yes, yes,
Take him to one of the events or something. Show him
yep,
around.
yep. Oh yeah, he, yeah, he. When I first met him, um, he was a little nervous to ask me some questions, knowing I was in the Gulf War and everything. But he's a
Hmm.
war historian.
Really?
Yeah, he will ruin the entertainment value of watching a war movie.
Yeah, because
Oh yeah,
he
he'll
can
point out
decipher it right
every
away, huh?
mistake that they make. That patch did not come out until the Vietnam War. It's not a World War II patch, and
Oh, I bet. I bet.
oh
Yeah, in the
yeah,
movies and stuff, he
yeah,
spots all the
he
mistakes they
spots them
made in
all.
production. Yeah,
Oh yeah,
I bet they make a lot of those. I bet
yeah.
they make a lot of those. I could only imagine, and here's why: because as a civilian, and even as a civilian who works directly with veterans, and I work directly, like, I have an understanding of like military ranks and
Hmm.
pay grades and things like that. But I still couldn't begin to understand how like the patches are earned, and I know that there's a meaning behind every single patch. They were given at certain times in history. So yeah, I can imagine that's got to be hard to keep up with if you don't have a very educated veteran, advising on something like that.
Yeah. Well, his grandfather was in Vietnam, so
Okay.
yeah, and that
Well, hey,
that's where that's where he gets it from.
that there might actually be some room for a job in that or something. Maybe
Yeah.
I'm
Well,
sure that could be beneficial.
he's gonna start participating in those war reenactments.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
There's
So
probably a lot of those out your way. They probably do. I know that in
mhm.
Twinsburg they used to have one. I think they had something every year down there. My dad used to be the operations manager at the Twinsburg library, so I
Oh,
lived
okay.
out there for a couple years. It was, I think, 3 or 4 years before I moved out. But so I'm a little familiar with that area. I know they have the. I remember the Twins Day parade too.
Oh
They
yeah.
have that every year. All the twins come out and
Oh yeah.
march. That was always pretty crazy to see.
Oh yeah. Everybody in town. I saw the first set of twins. Now that's funny because when I was working on the PACT Act, I had to work with Senator Sherrod Brown a lot.
Okay.
And I did a lot of press conferences with him. And every time before you would introduce me, he's like, "You guys, this guy, next guy's from Twinsburg. All they got Twins Days there. It's like the biggest freak show people have ever seen in this country." I'm like, "Dude, we want people to come. Don't give it away."
Yeah, that's way to sell it, Sharon.
Oh no. Then he would tell them how how it's just crazy that there's like thousands of sets of twins that come into this tiny
Yeah,
little town every year. So
I was fascinated by it because we lived right like our house was right off the road. Is it Ravenna that they
yes.
they go down? So
Hmm.
our house was on Ravenna, almost right across the street from the high school. There's a big white house. It was owned by the Bissells. I don't know if that name rings a bell to you,
Oh
but
yeah,
they're
yeah.
pretty prominent in the
Yeah, one of the
Twinsburg
schools
area.
is named after Bissell. So
Right. So when my dad took the job out there, before they went and bought a house, they had to find somewhere immediately to go to, and they got connected with the Bissells, and they rented
mhm.
them the house there across the street from the high school for a little while. So
Now, as far as Neopat goes, do you guys ever look into and maybe help promote certain veterans legislation at the state or even on the federal level at all?
um we do. So I would say like yes, not. So maybe I'm not the most educated on it to answer that, but I will try to the best of my ability. Our
Mhm.
our, our former executive director and now senior advisor Rick Deschamps, whom I know
Yes.
has done. He's been a part of a lot of that. More, I think, more particularly at a local level
Mhm.
though than a state or legislative level. Um, but there's certain topics and certain things that we support over others, but we try not to get too deep into the politics and all of that stuff,
Yeah.
obviously. But so yeah, I would say if anything, it would be in a limited capacity individually from some of our
Mhm.
board members. I do know that one of our board members, Babe Kwasniak, is the civilian aid. My mouse is dead, so I can't look on our board page. Civilian aid. Um, I don't want to chop up the title, so I'll just stop there. Um, but yeah, we have board members that are involved in some of those things, and in an individual capacity, they do that. But as an organization, we're not actually like backing or supporting any sort of bills or anything like that. If that's something that is possible, and if it would be helpful to get certain matters out there in front of the public eye, if even just to educate people on them and say, hey, this is happening. Maybe that's something that we can work with your organization on, because I know that you're
Mhm.
very knowledge on all of that stuff, and we'd be happy to support that if we're able to.
All right. And as far as like activities go, do you arrange any events where you bring veterans and their families in and have like let's say like a maybe like a 5K run or
Yeah. So
anything like that?
yeah, so absolutely, we do a lot of events throughout the year. We have different types of events. So we have we have our NEOPAT fundraising events, and then we have like our community NEOPAT community outreach events, and then we have like our partners slash like other outreach events, such as like the Ridall Resource Fairs and the Rally Against Suicide. But what I think you're referring to is more of like just like general activities that we invite veterans to. And
Mhm.
yeah, we do. We like I said earlier, we have partnerships with organizations like the Browns organization, and they have their Browns Give Back program and their Military Appreciation Day. So just this past year, 2023, we partnered with the Browns, and they came to us, and Cross Country Mortgage wanted to provide a veteran couple with a $25,000 check for home renovations.
Mm.
They came to us and said, "Hey, do you know anybody who might be a good fit for that?" And once again, going back to our vast network of veterans in Northeast Ohio, we were able to sort through some things and say, "Hey, this person would probably be a good fit for that." And the Browns took them out on field before the playoffs, presented them with the check, but they also invited 10 other veteran couples that NEOPAT was able to invite. 10 other veteran couples who was also brought down on the field and surprised with an all expense trip to Baltimore the following week to see that game, the Browns
Oh,
game
wow.
there, where they were also taken on field for a little, picture moment and things like that. So we do events like that
Cool.
with the Browns, and we also have, again, we are trying to put together a lot more social events for 2024, a lot more events. How do I put it? We want to provide more of an incentive for some of these resource fairs that we're being a part of. So we are trying to explore ways to, host some of these resource fairs at,
Mhm.
let's say, the Guardians, Progressive Field before a Guardians game, so that, a veteran family can come out, enjoy the resource fair, and go and see the game after. So they have
Right.
more of a reason, more incentive to get out and come and see some of the things that are available out there for them as service members or veterans. So yeah, we don't have anything on the calendar yet, but I can assure you that we will have events with some of the sports organizations. We also have our partner events, such as like um, Forever Amber Acres, the horse equine therapy place in Medina. We have partnerships with the likes of Ridall Green Farm, who has a plethora of fun engagements, fun opportunities for veterans. I'm sure that Walt, Ed, and
Hmm.
Kima would love to put together a little workshop for veterans, and if that's something Neopak can help with, again, that's we'd
Yeah.
love to. If going back to like the rally against suicide too, if we want to, if there's a venue that Neopak can help, support, maybe we can, help you sponsor that. That's we're happy to help. So we'd love to get the veterans out. We'd love to get military community out, enjoy themselves, bring the
Hmm.
family. So and we're going to be putting out a lot of feeler surveys, to our network saying, hey, what kind of events would you be interested in attending? Um, Trying to hit that from both sides and also get some of our military organizations and veteran ERGs to come out and volunteer at those events, and then really, double down on bringing the military community together.
Hmm. Oh yeah, because since my organization is pretty much just starting out, we're trying to come up with you know activity events like that, and want to partner up with other organizations such as yours in hosting these events, and uh, well, we'll see how it goes from there. But
Yeah. And Matt Eck had a great idea too last year about some just maybe bringing together some of the smaller organizations that don't have as big of a reach and bringing them together under one umbrella for a day so everybody can
hmm
come out and then utilize like a larger crowd instead of like let's say Veterans Assurance Network was only able to get they were only able to reach 25, 30 people for this event that had so many resources, and we just hate to see those types of things go to waste, right?
right,
So I think that was a great idea, and I'd love to explore that more if there's any way that we can
yes, me too.
combine some of these smaller
Hmm.
events and bring them into one. And I think that would be a great idea.
Now, if this is a little bit too personal of a question, just let me know and we'll move on. How did you get involved with Neopat?
I got involved with NEOPAT in a volunteer capacity back in 2017, about a year or so. I'd say about 6 to 8 months after Emma was born. I got a little bored. I was working from home. A good friend of mine, Jack Newman, at the time, was the executive director of NEOPAT. And he had invited me out to a couple events. I think the first one being a Modern Warrior Live event. If you're not familiar, Modern Warrior Live is a theatrical performance put on by a guy named James Poling, who was, I believe, I want to say he did 2 tours in Afghanistan. And he
Hmm.
tells his story of, tour one and tour two, and then the return back to civilian life to like the jazz, like to jazz music played by world renowned jazz musician Dominic Farinacci.
Oh, okay.
Um, and it's a whole theatrical performance directed at promoting post traumatic stress uh, growth. Not
Hmm.
they're trying to take their whole purpose of their mission is to help take the stigma out of post traumatic stress,
Yeah.
and taking the disorder out of that because they don't see it as such. They see it as a strength and something that can be utilized by our veterans coming home. So um, I went and saw that show, and it was really moving. My father was a veteran, a Vietnam veteran that I didn't get to meet because he came home with some mental health issues, and again, unfortunately, I wasn't able to meet him, and that kind of brought me real close to the veteran issues,
Hmm.
especially after seeing that Modern Warrior Live performance and being able to process things a little differently about my life. And ever since then, I wanted to be useful to the organization, and I volunteered with them for a couple of years. Ended up, I think I just, Jack ended up getting a new job or something, and I stopped volunteering. I got a notification that they were hiring for an administrative assistant. Applied for the job as like a part-time administrative assistant because um, all of the responsibilities were essentially what I was doing for Jack a couple of years prior. So I was like, I'd love to do that and get paid to do it. And I got hired, and eventually that evolved within a few months. That evolved into a full time position as manager of community impact. and that's what I do now. Is I manage our community impact. I do like the direct communications with our veterans. Like I said, I personally manage our financial assistance requests and our community outreach initiatives, such as partnerships with organizations such as yours, Riddle,
Mhm.
and everyone else that I've mentioned tonight. So, um, yeah, that's how I got involved. Couldn't be happier where I'm at. I love the organization. I love what we're able to do and how we're able to help the community. And really looking forward to growing in 2024. It's been a wonderful ride, and I feel like we've already had so much success over the past year, and I'm just looking forward to what's to come this year.
Yes, yes. I know you guys been doing some awesome work, and hear nothing good but good things about NEOPAT. So definitely had to
That's
get you
good to
on
hear.
here. And I think you and I are becoming good friends with you know, working side by side at these resource fairs and everything. So definitely had to get you on here.
Yeah,
Promote you
absolutely. Happy to
guys.
be here too. And I wish I had more time to be prepared for it. I was, like I said, with the holidays and the kid being born, I would
Oh,
have
that's
liked to get in touch. And maybe if we do it, we can get together again this year. If you need to fill in a spot, we can. If I have a little bit
oh
more
yeah. Oh
advance
yeah.
notice this time, I'll reach out to our marketing department. That way, we can share it on our social media too and tag you in real time. So
Well, when I start promoting some of the resource fairs we'll be at, we'll bring you on to help us promote those. And got a question for you actually,
what's up?
and this is going to go out to our audience as well. I'm not sure if you're aware or not, but I had worked with Congressman Dave Joyce,
Yeah.
Congresswoman Amelia Sykes, and Senator Sherrod Brown.
Hmm.
Matter of fact, all the congressmen from Ohio except for Jim Jordan and Senator J.D. Vance. They
Okay.
were they were all involved with this, but the three that I mentioned, uh, we sat down and we wrote a resolution for a national veteran suicide awareness and prevention day in the month of September.
Hmm.
That's how the rally for against suicide came
Okay.
about. Because we were hoping to get July or September 22nd as the official national day for
Okay.
that, but the House was ready and presented it prior to that, but the House does not vote on those type of resolutions. They just pass that information on to the White House and
Okay.
hope that the president signs an executive order. Now, Senator Sherrod Brown, presented the Senate version of the resolution to the floor of the Senate, but not until September 30th. So at the
Okay.
last minute, we had to change both resolutions from the 22nd to the 30th.
Okay.
They didn't vote on it until the 30th, and it passed by unanimous consent. So
Okay.
there was no fanfare, and it was after the rally, so we couldn't announce anything about it. And they said you can't mention anything about this until it's voted on or at least presented to the floor. So it was you know it just kind of threw us off, and then I got sick too. So
Okay.
it got kind of made that rally a little hard to plan. It was all done pretty much at the last moment with a lot of hard work from Matt Eck.
Right.
So,
Yeah. And
but
so does that mean it passed, right? So this
well, it was only
September
for
30th of
it was
oh, it
only
was
for last
okay, it was
year,
only for last. So what?
and and
Oh, bummer.
and
That's a
yeah,
bummer.
and uh, Senator Sherrod Brown's staff told me that we would have to do this every year unless the president signs an executive order. So
Okay.
I've been emailing the president at least once a week.
I love that, Tim. I love that about you. I love it.
I now started an email campaign
Okay.
getting other people saying, hey, look, we need September 22nd as the National Veteran Suicide Awareness and Prevention Day.
Hmm.
I'm hoping that you and you can get some other people involved as well. Just all you have to do is just send one email. You go to whitehouse.gov. You can fill out this form. You can't just email them directly. You have to go
Okay.
on to their
But
website
there
and
is
fill it out that
there is
way.
a link, you say, then, that you can go and make a submission for something like this, and is it like a channel that's normally used for stuff like that?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay.
You just go to whitehouse.gov. Matter of fact, let me put it on ticker tape here, and I'll put it in. And for those of you who listen to this just the audio, I'll put it in the description, so you'll be able to see that in the description. My typing is terrible. Yeah, right there. It's let me put that's fine the way it is. It's whitehouse.org. Then you go to contacts. Then it's going to have a drop down box, and it's going to ask you message the president, message the vice president, request an appearance by the president, request an appearance. You put in send message to the president.
Okay.
And then after you fill out, it's going to ask for your address, phone number, and your email address.
Okay.
Then it's going to have a box where you can type as long of a message that you need to.
Okay.
And then you just hit submit.
Can we do this? Could you, if you wouldn't mind, because we would, I'd have to run it by, the
You'd have to run it
committee,
by
obviously. But if we were to be, open to it, which I believe we would it be possible for you to just maybe put together a Word document, just a short template?
Sure.
If you could just put together like a copy and paste statement that we can all send with matching subjects and email lines, that way, if he misses one, he's going to see, he'll see one of them, right?
Yeah.
Maybe if you just put together like a basic template with showing the link to go to, maybe the hierarchy, the contract or contact president, and then it'll bring up the form, and then just say, enter this in the topic line, enter this in the message line, send. And then we can send that out. Absolutely. And if we need to polish it up or, clean it up a bit, if you could just get the raw details down, like the URL and then the subject and the message, I think that we could definitely share that out.
Yeah, I'll send that out to you either tonight or tomorrow.
Okay. Awesome.
Yeah.
Awesome.
I don't think I'm busy until tomorrow evening. Oh, yeah, folks. The reason we're live tonight instead of tomorrow night.
That's right.
Is my wife decided to plan a birthday party for me on my actual birthday, which is tomorrow. And she just told me about this Sunday.
Surprise.
Yeah. I'm like, I think I should let you know this because I know about, you do the podcast every Wednesday night, so you should know about this so we don't ruin it and you got some time to make some changes. So that's why we're on tonight instead of tomorrow night. And the reason why I wouldn't move it to Thursdays because a friend of mine has a podcast as well, and his is on Thursday nights, and I don't want to compete with him at all.
Right.
So, and because he gets information out to veterans as well. So,
would this podcast be accessible after the fact? Could I go on your Facebook and still see it after it's not live, like after it's ended?
Yeah. Oh yeah. Okay. This will be in about an hour after we go off the air. It'll be available on YouTube. I'll send you the link, and then you can actually go on Facebook page and see it again. It'll be posted on there again.
Okay. I'll let our marketing team know. I'm not personally on Facebook anymore. I just don't like all the social media, but we are. NEOPAT is.
I actually wish. Little storyline, folks. Well, a lot of my audience knows this already. My brother Dennis, who was in the Air Force as well. I come from a family of 6. 4 of us have served in the Air Force. And our brother Dennis retired from the Air Force. And he's a Vietnam and Gulf War veteran. He decided to take his own life 23 years ago on Christmas Eve. I wish we had social media back then, because all my efforts on trying to get veteran suicide awareness, illness of Gulf War veterans and everything out there would sure, because computers were just now coming out.
Right.
There was no social media. I mean, MySpace wasn't, I don't know if you know what
Yeah.
MySpace was.
Oh yeah.
It wasn't even out yet.
We were still
So the way
dialing in.
the way I was trying to get people involved was all the different emergency rooms and waiting rooms at hospitals and everything that my dad took me to. Meeting other veterans saying, hey, are you sick? Are these illnesses? Do you think this is what, because you were exposed to stuff while we were in the war? And they're like, yeah. Like, so that was it. So then you ask them, hey, can you contact your congressmen and your senators and say, hey, I'm sick and I think it's because of this. Can you help us? And, you know, you might get one out of every 200, 300, 400 veterans that you talk to that would actually make a phone call.
Right.
And of course, email didn't even have email yet.
Yeah, it would have been much easier.
Yeah,
it would have been easier.
You had, and when you called the offices, the first thing they'd ask was, please enter your zip code. And if your zip code wasn't part of their jurisdiction, they'd hung up on you.
Yeah.
So now that's different. You can call anybody. It's just the emails have to come from their jurisdiction.
Right.
So
yeah, but technology, it's definitely a real big blessing and a real big curse at times too.
Exactly.
The amount of information you can get out in such a little time.
So now that I know how to use all this stuff, it's helping make my job a lot easier. So
I bet. Yeah.
Yes. And we can reach more people on a split second too. So
absolutely.
Hey, Brian,
that's awesome.
I appreciate you, man.
I appreciate you, Tim. I appreciate you having me. Definitely looking forward to doing it again this year if you'll have me. And just let me know. I will. I'll keep an eye out for the email with the information for the National Veterans Suicide Prevention Day. And as soon as I get that, I'll touch base with our executive committee. But I see no problem that we should just be able to send it out. Just kind of a little acknowledgement. Hey, this is this is something that we'll probably mention your organization. I would imagine is spearheading, and we want to support them in this venture, and do what we can do to help. If spreading a couple emails helps, absolutely.
All right. Well, I appreciate you coming on. I appreciate NEOPAT and all the work that you guys do over there. And folks, I keep forgetting to put this up. This is how you can get in contact with NEOPAT if you think they might have services to help you. You can go to neopat.org, and your email is info@neopat.org. It's Northeast Ohio Foundation for Patriotism, and they are here to help us veterans. All right.
Absolutely.
So,
thanks, Tim.
Oh, you're very welcome, Brian. If you can stay on after we go off the air just for a moment or two.
Yeah.
And next week's show, folks, we are having the director of Stark County, Ohio Veterans Service Commission on. We're going to talk about what her office in Stark County offers. And and I'm in talks with the state director. She might be coming on here in February. And she'll go, because I got to meet her when I entered a piece of art for the Ohio Veterans Art exhibit that was held in Columbus, and it got accepted. So I was able to meet her, and we had an extremely long talk while I was down there in Columbus on Media Day. And so I invited her on. Her people were trying to work out the kinks to allow her to come on. And so hopefully she'll be on in February. So folks, just pay attention to our Facebook page and our Instagram, and you'll see what upcoming shows will be. Oh, not next week, but the week after that, we're having David Root, who is the Ohio VFW legislation liaison on, and we're going to talk about some pending veterans legislation in the Senate for Ohio. One of those, Brian, you'll be interested in. Have you ever met Brian Schwenk? I mean, Robert Schwenk from
I have
Irreverent
met.
Warriors.
I did meet Robert actually at the rally against suicide. I met.
Oh, that's right. Yep.
Yeah.
His booth was pretty much right there with ours, and so you know the story about his son.
Yes. It's terrible. What
Um,
happened?
there are several state representatives that submitted a bill to
Okay.
name a highway after his son.
Okay.
So we'll be talking about that here in 2 weeks,
Okay.
and looks like that bill is going to pass, but we want to make
That's
sure
good
that
news.
it does.
Okay.
And little storyline, folks. I think we talked about this before. Robert's son was the Marine that was murdered at Camp Lejeune here not too long ago, and they are going to name a highway after him here in the state of Ohio. Hopefully, but it looks. I think it's going to pass. So thank you for joining us, and we'll see you all next week.
Thanks, Tim.
Thanks, Brian.